All right, so in this video, we're going to be talking about the banner schedule on Global that is going to lead up into the first anniversary at the end of November. More specifically, well, the game came out November 30th, so we could expect maybe the same day for the first anniversary. So we've got September, October, November. We've got literally 3 months left. I'm recording this on the 31st, pretty much 3 months until the first anniversary. We've hit the 9-month mark, which is pretty cool. So for this one, remember, first of all, before I get into it, it is not official, okay? It is speculation. Very, very important speculation, and it is subject to change. And obviously, this is not like the final schedule at all. This is not official. This is something that is going to give you a rough estimate of the units coming and about when. All right. So what I did for this one is I put the roles also for every new DP, every new unit, okay? And also we're going to be talking about, if you saw in the thumbnail, some other units that we could probably see because of story, okay? Obviously Awakened LICHT is probably going to be in the thumbnail, so you could kind of guess what I'm about to show you being LICHT's ultimate. So that's actually really sick, all right? So September 10th, let's start off. We've got Blue Raya and then also Julius's skill page 2. And this was actually confirmed. I did see a leak basically showing him in the banner. So basically, if they don't do a maintenance in the middle of the season, it means that everything needs to be implemented after maintenance at the beginning of the season. And that means people could leak everything coming out in the rest of the season, and Julius was inside that leak for the season. In the same way that Raya's kit was shown. So Raya is coming, Julius is coming. They're both blue DPSs, so basically they give you a free-to-play option and an extra pay-to-win option. Now we could literally see here, basically this is the leak I wanted to show, is that, okay, well, Raya actually has the good paid banner. Let me not log, continue, just let me continue this, guys. So Raya has the good paid banner, hold on, let me make sure. So Raya has the good paid banner where every 3 steps you get the skill page and then you get half off multi on the first out of 3, right? And you could do this once, but I mean getting the skill page 3 times is huge. So I think I'm going to summon on Raya. But Julius, you have to do 8 steps, 7, 8, I think it's 8 steps, and you get Julius's skill page. Guys, come 8 is a lot. For 1, you could do this 3 times, but okay. Quick math, right? 8 times, come on, guys, 9,600 paid crystals for 1 Julius copy, and obviously you could pull Julius's skill page within the multis, right? But it's still 1% chance you could still get shafted. So I'm honestly not even sure if I'm going to summon for this Julius skill page. Genuinely, I do not know. I do not know if I'm going to actually summon on it. We're going to have to see. We will. But I think for most people, even for a lot of paid players, this is a skip. Julius is a skip. Because Raya does a lot of the same stuff in terms of damage. Actually, I could show you guys this. Raya versus Julius. So if we're comparing a Julius speed buff with William versus a speed buff with, if William is paired to buff with Raya and also with Julius, but Julius is on a magic attack build and Raya is on an attack build, then Raya will actually be doing more damage, right? So we could see here, Raya does 659% attack, right? Where Julius with his skill 2, where is it? Julius with his skill 2, I think it's this one. Yeah, it would be this one. So it would be 478%, right? So that's basically all you got to consider. And then without William's speed buff, right, it's still almost the same, right? So Raya actually on his skill 2 does a lot of damage, okay? And his whole kit's good. He has immortality, which in this meta is actually, I find, just a bit better, if anything, just a bit better. But then Julius on the ult kind of pulls through a little bit, where Julius does 1320 damage, right? Attack percent and magic attack, where Raya could do 902% without the William attack buff, but then you multiply that by 84%, and then it shoots up past Julius, right? So yeah, Raya with William does more than Julius with William, but Julius obviously offers his own things. So, you know, there's pros and cons. Raya does need to be max dupe. Julius is paid only, so obviously free-to-plays can't get him. Raya, if you want to build mono blue, you could go for him, right? If you want to build mono blue. If you have Zora, you don't even need Zora really high, but I feel like max dupe Zora just makes him a lot better, but it's not a necessity. Let me close this. It's not a necessity for Zora to be max duped. It's a pretty simple team to build if you have the seasonals, but it's just getting your hands on everything already might be difficult. So, you know, you could have 2 skips, but Raya, from what we're seeing, is also going to be good off of mono, but if you're still not sure, and if you don't have mono blue built up, for example, then you could obviously wait for showcases if you want to max dupe Raya or not. Because next up, we've got a new unit, first time in the game, being Dorothy, coming with the main event to start off the season. Now, how exactly we saw that she was coming is, first of all, because she was in the leaks in terms of her packs. So we had packs for Raya, packs for Dorothy, and since Raya's coming out this season, that means Dorothy's starting off next season, okay? Which is a bit weird, but it also makes sense because of the fact that they always start off the season with a main event, and this time they're doing a Dorothy main event. So Dorothy's a red debuffer, and she's going to be a universal debuffer, and if she has immortality removal, she's basically, I think, top 3 in the game. But if she doesn't have immortality removal, she's probably a top 5, top 10 unit in the game very easily, and in my opinion is going to stay consistent for a while. And honestly, for PvE content, especially World Boss, she's going to be the #1 unit in World Boss, #1 debuffer, right? I'll go over as to why I think she's going to be good in PvE, but it's basically because her ult applies a Nightmare debuff, which puts reduced damage, which has a chance. It's a random one, but if you get lucky, you could put increased damage taken and reduced defense on the enemy, and reduce crit res. Because this applies one random debuff level 5 every turn. This would be, I think, 80% damage increase and like 70% reduced defense. So it's like you're doing a lot more. And then not even just that, you lower their mobility by 20% when they put a when they put a buff on themselves. So if the buffs themselves, that's a debuff lower. And then even crazier, first of all, buff block for 1 turn, which might actually save you and like stop defensive buffs from going on. But then also her skill 1 extends debuff. So all these debuffs you're putting on, increased damage taken, reduce crit res, reduce defense, you're able to extend it. And then when you're attacking the boss with Nightmare up, that's a reduced mobility. So, you know, you're going to be basically completely destroying that boss, especially if you get more PvE content that's very difficult. Dorothy is just going to be that girl, right? She is going to be that girl. So I feel like a lot of people just universally, if you're trying to go for something, I feel Dorothy in the next like 2 months or so is going to be the thing to go for, if we're being honest. I feel like Dorothy would make the most amount of sense for this. Once again, not official. We don't know if it's exactly Dorothy. We do know it's Raya and Julius because of leaks, but Dorothy, it's a bit harder to say because obviously we need to wait for the maintenance. But yeah, Dorothy, very exciting unit. Can't wait for her. Now next up, I don't know why that's there, but next up, we've got October 8th about what's it called, Charlotte, and then also Yami. But I think I should add this. Maybe won't release ? And why am I saying this? Because right now, if Dorothy, let me make that big. If Dorothy isn't really good with them, because look, she's red, they're both red. So the team that a lot of people are thinking of, and especially me, is that it's going to be Finral, Dorothy, Charlotte, and Yami on a mono red mobility buff team, right? Which could be very, very, very good. But the thing is, if they don't have immortality removal, this team sucks. Why? Raya has immortality, Black Divider has immortality. Soon we're about to see Fuego on this list. He has immortality, right? A lot of these units have immo, and if you can't, and also they have immo. So if you can't remove immortality with a team, then it just sucks, right? And then if you run them with like Vanessa or something, well, the problem with that is that they just don't really have much protection. Where on this team with Dorothy, she's gonna be able to do a good amount of stuff alongside Finral. These 2 units so far are not looking too good, and the thing is, it's a skip also because you need 2 attack sets, and almost no one has 2 attack sets that are good, which lowers their value significantly. Okay, significantly. 2 attack sets is very difficult. I feel like more people have built up obviously magic attack than attack, and wanting 2 good attack sets, I'm not really sure. So right now I'm saying Charlotte, Yami, but maybe we get some random release, right? Very possible, because usually seasonals start off this season, so I'm not really too sure. Now I think something that could also make sense is Sekre releasing here, and we'll talk about why. But we're going to first of all go to the next unit, which is potentially a Fest unit. He's a dark attacker, okay? And why is it potentially a Fest unit? Because he is actually just so broken, okay? It's actually insane how good this Fuego is, and it is Salamander Fuego. Salamander Fuego, in my opinion, is Fest worthy. And another thing to help prove this point is because this is his 2nd canon SSR. Okay, now what I'm trying to reference is, okay, we got Yuno, right? Let me switch up Yuno. Right, he got this Yuno, and then he got a Fest. Right now, Black Asta a bit different. He got a bunch. He has like 2 seasonals, and then he got 2 actual Asta Fests. Right. Mario and Julius a bit different, but I feel like if they're gonna make another Fuego, he's gonna be a fest, right? And the only thing that like I tie this into is really the getting a canon SSR and then a fest. We never really gotten two canon SSRs that weren't fest, if we're really being real. Like from a canon, not seasonal, canon. Actually, Fauna and Vero and Raya, those are the third eyes though. So I feel like the situation is slightly different than Fuego. But let me know what you think if you think I'm like kind of onto something with that. But these three units did actually have that, so I kind of that point is lost in the air. But I feel like Fuego with how good his kit was, and if he does get invulnerability, especially. I mean, he's going to be very good. And he's also going to work with Raya. Keep that in mind. Raya could give counterattack on his combo, and Fuego actually, what's it called? He actually needs counters. Now, next up, you see Sekre or Black Asta skill page 2, or both, right? So we really don't know, but Black Asta, that's 2 months after, right? So we see here Julius skill page September 10th, and then like November 5th. That's 2 months after we would maybe get Black Asta skill page. Now, one thing why I think these seasonals might not come is because obviously they are, so let me copy this actually. Let me, oh, can I not copy? Oh, okay, no copying. Let me just, let me do this, and then we'll put this here. All right, so it could be this too here. So I'm really not sure. Let me put this because I'm just at least gonna let me go to 24. All right, so it's I feel like it's either these two. Okay, and why I'm even considering Sekre here is for two reasons. Okay, number one, Charlotte Yami kind of suck. I don't know if they have a vision in mind for that. Finral is already going to be good on that mono blue team with Raya. I feel that's kind of where I'm seeing Finral's kit kind of come into play, right? Finral definitely seems to be made more for Raya than for Charlotte Yami, but I feel like Finral could maybe be an option for these two. But the problem is that we don't know like if these units are coming, and also they might be the release here. The reason why I'm saying this is because if this is a fest, usually seasonal units release in the middle of a season only when there's a festival, okay? And this season would have a festival, okay? And if that's a fest, then it would make more sense maybe for these two to release here, or just not release at all because they're just not a good release. But they have a combo, so I feel like they would want to release them, right? Just to at least have them out. So I'm really unsure, right? The schedule is very weird with Yami Charlotte. I feel like they don't even need to come out. But yeah, so now let's start talking about Sekre. So Sekre is a supporter, and the way she's a supporter is maybe going to be very good for the game because, we have in all this, there's not one supporter. And even before that, we got Black Divider. And then we got Finral. Finral was kind of a flop though on release, which is unfortunate. But Sekre could be definitely more so a more universal release, I'd say. More of a universal release. So we don't know what color she is, but we know she is a supporter. Okay, the other colors are pretty much confirmed, but just keep that in mind. But the thing is, right, we might not get a unit before anniversary, and they might just release Black Asta skill page, or they'll do two to really drain us before anniversary, right? That's the two things I could see. But Sekre, I mean, she's definitely before anniversary a pretty in theme release. If you guys already kind of have an idea of what the first anniversary is, of course. But this is kind of like the schedule I'm thinking of. Now, Black Asta would make sense because it would be 2 months after Julius' skill page. So, a 2-month gap between these, I think, would be good and help spice up the meta. So that's basically it. But I'm really unsure about Charlotte Yami right now. It's like kind of up in the air. We're going to see when Dorothy comes out what exactly is coming in the middle of the season. But if it is Charlotte Yami, then it's kind of going to be a flop release. But I'm very excited more specifically for Sekre. If Sekre does come, I think there's a small chance of it happening, but not a high chance. I feel like this, like the all the units before or makes the most amount of sense, right? To me, it makes the most amount of sense. So we will have to see. Then we get to the first anniversary, and it should be Lumiere. He should be an attacker, but he might be a supporter. But I mean, he's more of an attacker in my eyes, right? I hope for a festival, and this is gonna be a fest. This is gonna be a fest. So I would very much hope for him to be an attacker. I mean, it's just that attacker, then another attacker. I just don't know how to feel about that. That's the one thing that really confuses me. So Lumiere is probably gonna be it because they did tease him technically. So let's go on the news Twitter and pull up what I want to pull up. But where would it be here. So they show this, which is where you could, that little guy on top, it's Lumiere. So, if they're putting that as a secret for 1.5 Annie, then it would also kind of make sense for, because the half Annie on JP lines up with the first Annie on Global, and the half Annie on Global lines up with the first Annie on JP. So basically, they are half a year apart, which means the 1.5 Annie is also the first Annie on the JP on Global, and I could see them both kind of lining up for Lumiere, right? Which is why I'm putting this as the first Annie. First anniversary, first Wizard King would make the most amount of sense. I feel like this will be a pretty hype release, but like some people were bringing up that Zygarde would be an even better release, but I really don't know. Anyway, this is kind of like my thoughts on what we're getting for first Annie, and I mean to me this kind of plays into it, so we're gonna have to see. But yeah, now we could kind of get into what I wanted to show you, and potential future unit, being this licked. So it seems a bit cut. It does seem a bit cut, the alt. I feel like there might be more in it, but bro, like yeah. So Ali showed this in a stream, and yeah. So it's a blue attacker for right now, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything. Also, by the way, anything they show in story, like any arts, doesn't necessarily mean a unit. But like, just wanted to kind of show you that he has his model now. We could fight him, right? So he can and will become a unit for sure. Maybe he'll be the Fest after Lumiere, or they'll put him with Lumiere. I don't know, but man, Lumiere and Licht are, this Awakened Licht especially, such a cool unit. So I just wanted to kind of show you guys that it's possible that maybe in like 4 6 months we get Awakened Licht. But yeah, so by the way, yes, there will be a double fest, but after this, I think that there's going to be no more double fests, right? Because technically after this they could release, unless because they're gonna kind of be lined up with the amount of fests that JP has, so it's gonna kind of only be 2 months gap after this for festivals, which I think is fine. But that's basically it, guys. This is the updated schedule. I would say this is the kind of obviously not official, speculative, and subject to change schedule. So keep that in mind. But that's basically it. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.